Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Treasure Travel. And here's her story. Hi, Ollie. Thank you for helping me in my journey of healing from 50 years of abuse from a narcissist mother and narcissist father. I have been essentially no contact for about 3 years. I have lived in a different state than my parents for 31 years and was lowering my contact with them gradually over a 28-year period before going no contact. The following letter examines the difference between acceptance and forgiveness with respect to healing from narcissist abuse. In doing so, it also examines the importance of sorting out the past, present, and future interactions with a parental narcissist in one's evaluation of the truth. I also discuss the past, present, and future in parental narcissist relationships with you in your video entitled, "You Are Just the Narcissist King's Jester." I've sent you an accompanied donation for this letter to help fund the continuation of your valuable channel. Acceptance versus forgiveness. My sister has become increasingly angry with me for going no contact with our parents. She told me that one cannot heal without forgiveness and that she has chosen to forgive my parents for the past, whereas she says I have chosen to be unforgiving, and uncompassionate. She and my parents have accused me many times of living in the past. It is clear to me that my sister thinks that my no contact is a stunt aimed at hurting them in retaliation for the past. On the contrary, I have no desire to hurt our parents and have explained to her that my no contact is about my future and has very little to do with the past. The reason your sister is saying that to you is because that's what she wants to do to your parents. She hasn't forgiven shit. She ain't forgiven nothing. New. These are her feelings she's projecting onto you. As a children of narcissist parents, my sister and I were raised such that we were never allowed to be angry or disappointed with the parents. For example, my sister used to shrug or roll her eyes when my parents unfairly verbally attacked her, and that made them unglued. They would yell at her, no body language. If while receiving their rage you try to utter a single word in self-defense, they would yell, no back talk. It's all gaslighting bullying. Your sister wants to friggin' curb stomp. Your sister, if she had the choice, would drag them both outside, put their mouths on the curb, and curb stomp their teeth into it. Your sister is... When people start... When siblings talk about forgiveness who have been abused like this and keep telling you this, how you're angry, they're the ones who are really angry. And they don't want to be reminded of their anger by you cutting them off now. Because probably she's afraid of her own, what she really wants to do. You were required to stand there and take it. And if you nervously glanced away, they would yell, look at me when I'm talking to you. And don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about. Those are all popular ones. The child of a narc is not allowed to display any displeasure towards the parents. However, the narc parent feels absolutely entitled to rage at the kid for the slightest thing. As an adult, it breaks my heart to see an adult verbally abusing a small, helpless child. It was exhausting growing up with two narc parents as we always had to walk on eggshells. Even though my sister is in her 50s, feeling anger towards her parents remains taboo and very uncomfortable for her. That's right, and that's why she's trying to get you not to go no contact, because it's reminding her of what she really wants to do. She hasn't forgiven shit. Your sister hasn't forgiven anything. She's lying to herself because this rage is simmering in her. She wants retribution for the past, but she's lying to herself. Therefore, following my no contact, she blames me for the family disharmony and directs her anger at me. This blame shifting is a very common thing seen between siblings of narcissistic parents. Because she don't want to face her demons. I mean, this is the big problem between me and Precious is he's a giant coward who doesn't want to deal with this, and I'm dealing with it. Look, you're going to have the sibling when sometimes you just gotta have the sibling that is so angry and so mad they hang in, because the alternative is they're not going to be able to control their rage, and they'll blame you for all the quote unquote disharmony, so they don't have to really be mad because they're less mad at you obviously than they are at your parents. The parents can literally be in the room raging, and one sibling will turn against the other rather than acknowledging the elephant in the room, because you're more afraid of your parents than the other sibling. It's what they want. That's where your sister's anger is coming from. She hasn't forgiven anybody. Nobody's forgiven in this. I struck a nerve with my sister when I suggested this, that she was angry and blame shifting onto me. I believe that she was insulted that I suggested that she was angry, as it was drilled into us since infancy that we don't have a right to be angry. Ironically, she tolerates continuous anger from both our parents as angry is their default state. Your sister has quiet rage that can just boil over at any time. Her rage is righteous from your stories. You need to tell her you're directing your rage at the wrong person. That's where your rage is. I'm not the one who made you stand there. And a lot of times they need to be reminded of the things that happened to them. I didn't make you stand there. I didn't tell you couldn't talk back. I didn't make you stare at me. I didn't make you do that. I'm not the one who wished you dead on a slab, Michael. I'm not the one who stole all the disability money they were collecting off of his scam for you, Michael. I'm not really the one you're mad at. You're not the one she's really mad at. She's talking about forgiveness. She hasn't forgiven anybody for anything. She's angry and she's angry. She's simmering. She's got this quiet rage boiling. For me, it's not about forgiveness of the past, but simply about acceptance of the past, the present, and the future. By acceptance, I mean acceptance of the reality that I was not born to good parents, and they did not try their best, that they did not love me unconditionally, and that they have a sadistic need to destroy my self-esteem. I had to accept that nothing was different in our present relationship and that nothing would ever change in the future. I also had to accept that my nerve-wracking childhood caused me social problems, disconnect and competitiveness with my siblings, and crippling anxiety and self-loathing that continues to undermine my happiness into adulthood. The past aside, it has certainly also been detrimental that their shredding of my self-esteem never did let up and was actually accelerating as I approached my 50s. Yes, the truth can be very sobering. Clearing the bullshit from your head and actually completing surrendering to the truth is acceptance, and it is the only path for dissipating the anger. Both acceptance and forgiveness involve a determination to try to let go of the anger. It is not actually true that you need to forgive to heal, but more fundamentally that you need to let go of your anger in order to heal. I don't agree with that either. You need your anger. Your anger reminds you of the past, so you don't forget, because you are always going to be susceptible to these people. Our anger keeps us honest. Our anger keeps us grounded. Our anger is righteous. That's what your sister needs to understand. You're allowed to have this anger. This is righteous anger. She was abused. You and your sister were turned against each other at their behest for their pleasure. Bullied for their pleasure. Sister hasn't forgiven anyone, and she's not mad at you. She's enraged at them. And she has every right to her anger. You need to accept, and if you want to talk acceptance, you need to accept that you have a right to your anger. Yes, you need to accept this happened and these are the cards, and I've said that. But also, I don't know if you've seen my videos about righteous anger. You need to accept your anger is allowed to be there. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to walk around and stomp around a little bit when you're because this stuff eats you up. It doesn't go anywhere. Don't let go of your anger. You let go of your anger, you're going to walk right back in there. That's why your sister's still dealing with them. Because she, quote unquote, thinks she let go of her anger. She didn't let go of her anger. You didn't let go of your anger, because if you let go of your anger, you wouldn't still be no contact. Forgiveness actually goes a big step beyond acceptance because it requires trust. Trust that a person who slighted you did not do so intentionally, or that there was intent. Trust that they now have remorse and do not intend to hurt you in the future. In order to forgive my parents, I would need to trust them. Growing up, children of narcissist parents always find themselves on the forgiveness merry-go-round because they have no choice but to keep trying to trust and keep coming back for more abuse just to survive in the family. As adults, we can choose not to participate anymore in this Sisyphus exercise. Given my new understanding of narcissism, I realize that narcissists are not capable of having a healthy relationship with anyone, not even their own children, and so true forgiveness is not applicable. I've been saying that. Another difference between acceptance and forgiveness is that acceptance is just about you, whereas forgiveness can be also about others. Forgiveness gives the guilty party a free pass and frames them in a more flattering light because you are extending trust to them and giving them another chance. If you tell someone you forgive them, then it can make them feel better about themselves by alleviating some of the guilt. Yeah, you're letting them off the hook. The price of forgiveness is too high. There's too many costs, and it's not real. Forgiveness isn't real. You either forgive somebody or you don't. You don't tell yourself, I've forgiven you. You either know you've forgiven somebody or you don't. And a lot of times, people just lie to themselves and they end up in the same situation where they needed forgiveness to begin with. That is all well and good in certain situations, however, is not in a good relationship if it merely serves to set you up to be the recipient of more rounds of abuse. I also want to point out that because narcissists always place the blame on you, you would actually infuriate them if you were to inform them that you forgive them. Basically, when a victim claims they have forgiven their narcissist, they think what is really going on is denial. The victim desperately tries to convince themselves that the narcissist did not have intent and will not hurt them again. They just don't want to believe that their own parents betrayed them. Seriously, past grievances aside, and forgiveness for past grievances aside, if nothing is going to change, then trusting and giving your abuser yet another chance to hurt you is just self-destructive. Her anger towards me, my sister also said accusingly, "You blame mom and dad for everything," to which I replied, "No, I only blame them for their own bad behavior." She is parroting what they said behind my back, and she is insinuating that I just want to scapegoat them, so not to take any personal responsibility for my own shortcomings as an adult. My sister also said to me, and I quote, "It's not like they beat us," which is a paraphrase of something we heard my mother say countless times to my father, Joe, in front of us whenever there was disharmony. "It's not like we beat them, Joe. It was really sad for me to hear my sister repeat this in defense of my parents. Clearly, her expectations for their behavior remain very low and her denial very high. Another very difficult thing for me to finally accept is that I can only help myself emotionally and not my sister, who I love dearly and unconditionally. My sister is a very sweet and giving person, and I am sad that my break with the parents has caused a rift between us. I know that my mom is pleased about this, as she's always tried to put wedges between family members, which is one of the more unnatural and sick characteristics frequently noted of narcissist mothers. I had to accept that my sister is not in the same place as me with respect to healing. I acknowledge that she has the right to be angry and the right to be angry with me. It saddens me. Ultimately, I accept it. I accept that's what it is. Why is she angry at you? She has the right to be angry, but she's angry at the wrong person. Why aren't you angry at them? Maybe if you, like the next time your sister that did this to you, maybe if you started repeating, as your sister's doing to you, repeating your parents' lines to you, maybe you should start repeating the lines to her that your parents said to her. No talking. Don't talk back. Stay. You remember? You remember? Like, you have to shake their memory. Because it sounds like she's abusing you the same way your parents are. Using the same tactics to get you under control. Because she doesn't want to face her own anger. She doesn't want to direct it where it really needs to go. Concerning my own anger, it comes and goes, but I continue to work on it, and it gets less and less the longer I remain no contact and focus on acceptance and moving forward with my happiness. You can't make this shit up. Treasure travel. Don't try to get over your anger. You need your anger. Your anger keeps you anchored. Your anger reminds you what the narcissist did. Your sister has a right to her anger, but it's focused at the wrong spot, on the wrong people. She talks about she hasn't forgiven anybody. Your sister's a mess. And she seems like she's fallen into the same trap as your parents. Using the same tactics just so she doesn't have to face them down. So it's easier to attack you than them. Bottom line. So I hope that helps. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or you'd just like to make a general donation to the channel, help it succeed and grow, because that's always great. Because remember, this channel is 95% demonetized and survives 100% on donations from all of you. So you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unclear, wait for the instructional video link to pop up on the screen at the end of the video to walk you through all of that. Please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.